about the last time you needed to establish a new habit or learn a new skill? And for the sake of argument, we all think about the same thing. I think we can all relate to losing weight. We know what that takes. We need to lose weight or get fit. We need to do two things. We need to move more and eat less or eat more healthy. And so it's New Year's Day and you're just done with the holiday binge-a-thon, and you get some new sneakers. Maybe you buy a subscription to a workout plan. And on the food side of things, maybe you purchased something like a slow cooker so you can come home every night to nutritious, warm meals. And maybe you get a blender, those little blenders for on the go, so you can have a smoothie all the time, be drinking your protein and all, depending on what diet you're on. Those are absolutely tools that are going to get us closer to our goals. And they're so important, but not all of those tools, like the running shoes and the subscription program, are going to allow us to be consistent in our efforts to do those things. Whereas something like the slow cooker could, if we establish good habits around it. Why? Because the main thing we need to get fit and lose weight is consistency. We can make teeny tiny changes, and as long as we do them with fidelity all the time, that new habit is going to get created. That new skill we're trying to learn, we're going to become more fluent at it, is what we tell our students, right? So what I have learned in talking with teachers is that they all want to do inquiry-based learning in science. Really. They became science teachers because they love looking around the world and having a little bit of awe and having a little bit of wonder about it. And they want to pass that on. And surely we can't pass on that inquiry mindset without ensuring that students are being able to practice inquiry all the time with consistency in our classrooms. And the truth is that inquiry-based learning in science is not complicated. It is not challenging. It is not complex. It's very simple. And I work in a super challenging learning environment, and I'm able to achieve it every day in a complex course like high school chemistry. I'm here today in this video to show you how with my one-page lab artifact. I'm Lisa, and I'm a secondary science teacher. I teach high school chemistry for a cyber charter school in Pennsylvania. Now, we have a synchronous learning model, which means I don't just create pre-recorded lectures and grade student work all day. Rather, I meet with them several times throughout the day in actual structured classrooms just like yours, except my students don't have the distractions of each other to contend with. Rather, they are dealing with the distractions of whatever's in their home and on a computer entirely. So it's a very difficult model in which to get students' attention, keep them engaged, and then lead them to achievement. But I have been able to do that with inquiry-based learning in science. The first reason I can give you for this one-page wonder being so wonderful is exactly what I talked to you about at the beginning of this video. It's consistency. The idea that we can actually achieve it every day. Because inquiry-based learning in science has to be a rhythm. The essence of your wet labs, your hands-on manipulative labs, are science and engineering practices, which all start with observation. So if your activity hinges totally on observation and generating questions and collecting data, qualitative or quantitative, and analyzing that data, then you are accomplishing inquiry. And not only is your setup easier, more doable, more efficient, but students actually start. We're going to overcome what would be their overwhelm of 4, 5, 6 pages where they just look at it and say, bruh. Tap into your student self for a minute. Surely you remember back to your high school days where a teacher handed you a big packet of something and you just felt complete, like, I don't even want to touch this. Or in college, when your professor has to have you hand in your lab notes or you have to construct that big lab report, it feels like a monumental task. It has nothing to do with the actual rigor of the activity. It has everything to do with the psychology of big versus little. And if we go back to the beginning of this video where we're talking about weight loss, getting fit, when we think about losing a large amount of weight or getting to a fitness level that is far from where we are, we're less likely to stay consistent. We're less likely to achieve that goal because it's simply too big. Little chunks are where our brain loves to be. Staying student-centered here with reason 3 for going with the one-page wonder instead of the lab packet is your ability to serve every student. To differentiate quickly and easily, one tweak allows kind of an entirely new activity depending on the levels you have in your classroom. Differentiating inquiry-based learning in science is the easiest thing in the world to do. Honestly, before I started teaching with inquiry-based learning in science, I had no idea how to differentiate content, product, and process. But because students are actively engaged in their learning, because they're doing something, I exactly know where to change. There's like 2 axes we can adjust with an inquiry-based learning activity. We can adjust the inquiry level, the cognitive load, how much critical thinking they need to do, and we can adjust the action level. How much do they actually have to do? How many examples are they observing? And also, that's where collaboration gets tied in, right? Where we can make an activity collaborative or keep it independent, also adjusts the level of rigor. So differentiation, if you're sitting there going, I don't even differentiate my labs right now, know that it's entirely possible with the one-page wonder. And finally, we can make this a student-centered sort of plus bonus for going with the one-page wonder, and that's fast feedback. Now, students need fast feedback in order to improve their understanding, in order to improve their skills. After all, that's what we're here for. But we would be lying to say that we wouldn't love to grade quickly and easily. Every day at the end of class, I'm able to look through all of my artifacts the students have submitted for class time that day and get a real good idea of who understood deeply, who understood surface, and who didn't understand at all. So not only am I providing scores instantaneously, but also I'm benefiting from the whole active scoring. The whole purpose we score a student is to allow them to understand and know how to grow, and for us to lead them into that. And the only way we could do that is to know who they are in that realm. What are they able to do? What do they understand? So fast feedback, being able to score all the students from my whole day in a half an hour or less is like amazing. So if you're still with me, at this point you might be wondering, Lisa, how do I go from the packet to the single page? And the answer is I have outlined all the details in my Active Learning Action Plan program so that ultimately you're able to create an everyday artifact with my assembly guide. If you want all the details on that, the link is down below in the description. So if you're tired of overthinking inquiry-based learning in science, go smaller. One page is all you need.